Discourses from Epictetus, read by Rocco di Pietro. Book 1, Episode 3. How to draw the correct consequences on the fact that God is the Father of mankind. If we could completely subscribe, as we should, to the view that we are all primary creatures of God, and that God is Father of both gods and men, I don't believe that we would ever think mean or lowly thoughts about ourselves. If the emperor adopts you, no one will be able to put up with your pretension. But knowing that you are the Son of God, wouldn't your pride be that much greater? In fact, though we react quite differently. Two elements are combined in our creation: the body, which we have in common with the beasts, and reason and good judgment, which we share with the gods. Most of us tend toward the former connection, miserable and mortal though it is, whereas only a few favor this holy and blessed alliance. Since everyone will necessarily treat things in accordance with their beliefs about them, those few who think that they are born for fidelity, respect, and confidence in their use of impressions entertain no mean or ignoble thoughts about themselves, while the majority does the opposite. What am I? A wretched mortal, a feeble piece of flesh. Feeble indeed, but you have something better than the flesh. So why turn away from this and cling to that? Because of this connection, some of us sink to the level of wolves, faithless, vicious, and treacherous. Others turn into lions, wild, savage, and uncivilized. But most of us become like foxes, sorriest the lot. For what else is a spiteful, malicious man except a fox, or something even lower, less dignified? See that you don't turn out like one of those unfortunate. Fragment 4, on progress. Whoever is making progress, after learning from philosophers that desire is directed toward good things and avoidance directed toward bad, and having also learned that impassivity and a good flow of life are not attained except through unerring desire and failing avoidance, that person will do away with desire altogether, or else defer it to another time, and exercise avoidance only in things within the moral sphere. Because they know that if they try to avoid anything outside the moral sphere, they are going to turn into something contrary to their aversion, face disaster. But if virtue holds things promise to secure happiness, impassivity, and a good flow of life, then progress toward virtue must involve progress toward these states as well. For wherever the perfection of anything tends, progress is always approach toward the same thing. So how is it that, although we are now agreed about the nature of virtue, we still try to demonstrate progress in areas that are unrelated? What is the goal of virtue, after all, except a life that flows smoothly? So who is making progress? The person who has read many of Chrysippus' books? Is virtue no more than this, to become literate in Chrysippus? Because if that's what it is, then progress cannot amount to anything more than learning as much Chrysippus we can. We are agreed, however, that virtue produces one thing, while maintaining that approach to it, progress results in something different. This person can read Chrysippus already by himself. You are making progress, by God, Thomas says sarcastically. Some progress, that is. Why do you make fun of him? Well, why do you try to distract him from coming to an awareness of his faults? Don't you want to show him the purpose of virtue so that he will know what real progress consists in? Look for it in your volition, friend, that is, in your desire and avoidance. Make it your goal never to fail in your desires or experience things you would rather avoid. Try never to err in impulse and repulsion. Aim to be perfect also in the practice of attention and withholding judgment. But the first subjects are the most essential. If you aim to be perfect when you're still anxious and apprehensive, how have you made progress? So let's see some evidence of it. But no, it's as if I were to say to an athlete, show me your shoulders, and he responded with, have a look at my weights. Get out of here with you and your gigantic weights, I would say. What I want to see isn't the weights, but how you've profited from using them. Take the treatise on impulse. See how well I've read it. Idiot, it's not that I'm after. I want to know how you put impulse and repulsion into practice, and desire and avoidance as well. I want to know how you apply and prepare yourself and how you practice attention, so that I can decide whether with you these functions operate in harmony with nature. If you are, in fact, acting in accordance with nature, then show me, and I will be the first to say that you are making progress. But otherwise, be off, and rather than just comment on books, you might as well go write one yourself. But in the end, what good will it do to you? You know that a whole book costs around 5 denarii. Is the commentator then worth more than that? Don't put your purpose in one place and expect to see progress made somewhere else. Where is progress then? If there is anyone who renounces externals and attends instead to their character, cultivating and perfecting it so that it agrees with nature, making it honest and trustworthy, elevated, free, unchecked, and undeterred. And if they have learned that whoever desires or avoids things outside their control cannot be free or faithful, but has to shift and fluctuate right along with them, subject to anyone with the power to furnish or deprive them of these externals. And if from the moment they get up in the morning they adhere to their ideals, eating and bathing like a person of integrity, putting their principles into practice in every situation they face, the way a runner does when he applies the principle of running, or a singer does of musicianship. That is where you will see true progress embodied, and find someone who has not wasted their time making the journey here from home. But anyone whose sole passion is reading books, and who does little else besides, having moved here for this, my advice for them is to go back home immediately and attend to business there, because they left home for nothing. A student should practice how to expunge from his life sighs and sorrow, grief and disappointment, exclamations like poor me and alas. He should learn what that is, as well as exile, jail, and hemlock, so at the end of the day he can say, like Socrates in prison, Dear Crito, if it pleases the gods, so be it, instead of, poor me, an old man, is this what old age held in store for me? Don't imagine that I'm referring to anyone humble or obscure either. Priam says it, so does Oedipus. In fact, all the kings of legend can be found saying it. For what else are the tragedies but the ordeals of people who have come to value externals tricked out in tragic verse? If I had been deceived into believing that externals, which lie outside our power, are not man's proper concern, personally I would consent to such a deception, provided it really could enable me to live an untroubled life. in peace of mind. Which condition you prefer, you can determine for yourself. What does Chrysippus give? To make certain, he says that these doctrines promising freedom from passion and serenity are legitimate. Take all my books, and you will find that the knowledge that makes me impassive is faithful to and in accordance with nature. How lucky we are, a benefactor, and how great a benefactor, has shown us the way. Men have erected altars to Triptolemus for giving us the art of farming, but the man who found, disclosed, and explained the truth to everyone, not the truth that pertains just to living, but to living well, who among you ever raised an altar, built a temple, erected a statue, or venerated God for that? We offer the gods sacrifice because they gave us wheat and wine, but they have produced such wonderful fruit in a human mind, part of their plan to bestow on humanity the true secret of happiness. Are we going to forget to express our gratitude to them on that account?